big statement, viewers, that we are picking up from Vladimir Putin ahead of the SCO summit. Remember, we were just telling you that he's arrived at Tianjin. Putin has slammed the sanctions by the West. He has come out to say sanctions by West are discriminatory. He has hailed the BRICS over addressing global issues. Moscow, Beijing strengthening BRICS message. So this is what we are picking up at this given point as Vladimir Putin has arrived in Tianjin. The first comment that's coming from the Russian president at this very point in the backdrop of the SCO summit, right ahead of the summit, we hear him saying sanctions by the West are discriminatory at this point. Pranay Upadhyay back with me on the broadcast. Pranay, how are we looking at this very comment with the Russian president just landing in Tianjin? Because remember, he himself has also had what seemed to be a rather successful meeting with President Trump only a few weeks back.
If you see, Shreya, Russia currently is the most sanctioned country on planet because of the Russia-Ukraine war, especially the Western sanctions. But still, many countries are engaging with Russia, and if you see the SCO membership, it has also expanded. This statement of President Vladimir Putin in an interview to Chinese news agency Xinhua assumes significance because this has come at a time when President Donald Trump has increased the tariff, and especially the tariff levied on count of Russia-Ukraine war and the engagement of countries like India dealing with Russia in terms of energy security or purchase of oil. So clearly, this is an important statement, and this SCO summit is the first multilateral meeting or grouping which is meeting in China after President Donald Trump assumed office in January 2025, and after he levied those tariffs or unleashed that tariff war. So this assumes significance because if you see the idea of BRICS, the idea of SCO is to give the alternative pole, or the India, China, Russia, everyone supports the idea of multipolarity.
Right.
On one side, all these countries are dealing with West, but also they are proponent of the idea of multipolarity. And President Donald Trump, many people in the United States are also accusing.
Multipolarity seems to be the goal. Yes, Pranay, absolutely. Pranay, do stay with us. This is what we are bringing to you, viewers. Pranay, we'll come back to you, but right now I'll go back to Anil Pandey, who continues to be with us. Mr. Pandey, coming back to you, this is the statement we are picking up from Vladimir Putin at this given point, who has come out to say the sanctions are discriminatory, the tariffs are basically discriminatory, and this only comes up weeks after what we saw to be a very successful meeting between the Russian president and the US president. We are looking at a summit which in fact is a proponent of multipolarity, as my colleague was also saying, but there's also an underlying, one would say, war between the BRICS and the Quad. It's a BRICS versus Quad situation as well. One where China feels singled out, one where the US sees, rather the BRICS, which the US sees as a threat to the Western powers.
Yeah, as we have listened, or we have heard Donald Trump that he thinks that BRICS or even the SCOs, the SCO summit is kind of threat to the Western hegemony, and we have seen how Trump has been, blasting against China and India recently, and also there is also reason that Trump is trying to have good relation with other countries, but not with India and China. Definitely, this kind of forums and platforms are an important platform that when China and India can be together, can show the world although they have differences, they have border problems, but still there are many issues on international level that they can negotiate, they can come together, and for the multipolar world and for the betterment of the world, definitely peace and tranquility at the border, at the line of actual control. So definitely both the nations need each other at this time. And as we know that Donald Trump is having very patchy relations with China and also with India. So on this, definitely both the nations have to come together, and they need each other. They must come together.
Absolutely. They need each other and they must come together. Mr. Pandey, what would you say in terms of the economic situation? China and India joining hands together at a time when they are facing what seems to be a common enemy, which is the United States. And when we say enemy, it is just on this very particular front where the US has been critical of both India and China purchasing Russian energy. That has been a sore point. But more importantly, India has felt singled out every single time in the last 1 month, ever since the US has begun leveling tariffs against our country. Do you think there's a solution here that we're looking at in this very bilateral meet? A collaboration between India and China?
Yeah, definitely. The whole world is waiting. Actually, more than 2.5 billion people are waiting to see when President Xi Jinping and Chinese and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will have a meeting. So, because as we know that India and China both have used to have very good bilateral trade, although that trade deficit was a big problem for India because Chinese, most of the products come from China or be into Indian market. But India also needs to step up and have a balanced trade relation with China, as we understand here. And both the nations, we know that they are the big powerhouses. Like, for example, China is a manufacturing hub and India is a big market. So China is Chinese for Chinese investment purpose and for the Chinese market. So India is a big opportunity for Chinese companies as well. As far as Indian companies and India is concerned, India also need China and Japan and other countries for the infrastructure development. For many projects are going on in India. So this is the time when Modi and Xi are going to meet, and they are going to fix some problems, and we are going to see the economic ties are also will be on the positive trajectory in coming days or coming months. So we are hopeful, and also people are hopeful in China as well.